my name is Trina Lindeman, and I'm going to be doing a professional development on student motivation. So, this is the overview of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the types of motivation, the foundation for motivation, and getting to know your students and what that entails with motivation, and some strategies for motivation. So, with motivation, there are two types. There's intrinsic motivation and there's extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is defined by Charlotte Nickerson in 2023 that it's when a student is truly determined and truly interested in an activity that interests them. So, in other words, it's self motivation. Now, in extrinsic motivation is the idea that student behavior is motivated by reward or punishment, which is also defined by Charlotte Nickerson in 2023. Now, what is the foundation for motivation? Before we can get any students motivated in a classroom, we have to make sure that their basic needs are met. And Eric Anderman in 2021, he talks about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And he states that in order for a student to be motivated, all of these stages need to be met for them to be able to get motivated. So the base of the pyramid is the physiological needs, which is the breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. So just the basic. Then we move up to safety and security. They need to feel safe in their environment. Love and belonging. So relationships is a big one for this one. So like teacher-student relationships is a big one because if there's no connection between the student and the teacher, there will be no motivation. Self-esteem, so basically like their confidence, respect of others, and the need to be a unique individual. So as long as we are as teachers making sure that their self-esteem is up, again, we will meet that need. And then self-actualization, which is the creativity, the acceptance, and then where they're able to meet their potential. So that is the base or the foundation for motivation. Now let's get to know our students. So are their basic needs met? So in order to know if their basic needs are met, you need to talk to your students, connect to your students, look beyond the classroom, know about their home life to be able to know if those basic needs are met. And again, you as a teacher can meet those needs, but there's other things that need to be met. So like if a student is hungry, you're not going to know they're hungry unless you ask them or if they tell you that they didn't have breakfast that day. So you know you need to meet that need before moving on to an actual lesson or assignment. Learning styles. So with the learning styles, Othman is the one who introduced the VARK method. And the VARK it's an acronym for Visual, Oral, Reading, Writing, and Kinesthetic Learning Styles. So by knowing your students' learning styles, you're able to motivate them by incorporating them into the assignment. So if someone is visual, you would use lots of visuals when completing the assignment or introducing the assignment. And then do they work better with extrinsic motivation or do they work better with intrinsic motivation? So that's also getting to know your students. Now some strategies. So we've talked about extrinsic motivation. So some strategies to help out with that would be Vroom's expectancy theory, which Haro, Caldwell, and Doty in 1985 brought this theory up. It gives, so like, the expectancy theory is that if a student knows what to expect from completing an assignment, they'll be more motivated to do so. So if you were to give parties to the class if they complete all the assignments, or like as a group, the whole class group, like, oh, on Fridays we'll have Fun Friday or something like that to get them motivated during the week. You can also do individual punishment or reward. So if they're off task, you can do 2 minutes after class or 2 minutes away from their recess. And then You can also do for a positive or for a reward, you can do like a punch card. If they get 10 punches, they get to visit the prize bucket and get a prize out of it. So it encourages motivation throughout the day or week. Now, for intrinsic motivation, these are for your learners that have self motivation but need a little bit more of a push. Is Carol Dweck of 2006. She introduced the power of yet and fostering a growth mindset. So making sure that if a student fails, that it's not the end of the world, that failure comes with learning. And with that, they'll be able to achieve more. And then even though, say they didn't really meet the requirements, instead of giving them a bad grade, you could say, well, you're not there yet, but we will get there. And that encourages motivation as well. So, and then also using the VARK method that we've talked about with the learning styles to complete the assignments, that helps with self motivation because it goes back to that definition that if they're interested in the work they're doing, they're going to do the work. So, when you have learning styles and you learn best this way, you're going to take an interest in it because you're like, this is the way I like to learn, so I want to do it. So, those are the strategies, and that it completes the presentation. And last thing, get parents involved. So studies have shown that if you have big communication with the parents and keeping them involved in their children's academic learning, it also boosts motivation into the classroom. So now I'm completed with my presentation. Thank you all for listening.